Good morning, dear colleagues. We start our working day, and I give the floor to the spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Colonel Viktoria Kushnir, and then we'll talk via Skype to Lieutenant Colonel Sergiy Danylenko, who is the spokesman for the anti-terrorist operation. Good morning. Today, in the anti-terrorist operation zone in the east of Ukraine, the raid of the vehicles of the times of the Second World War begins. This event is organized by the Department of Civil and Military Cooperation of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, together with the National Military Historical Museum of Ukraine, to mark the 70th anniversary of the victory over Nazism. This event testifies to the fact that the Ukrainian people have single history, single memory, and together commemorate those who protected the native land, Europe, and the entire world from the brown plague of the 20th century. The participants in the event will join the events of local bodies of power to commemorate and honor the veterans of the Great Patriotic War on the territory of Donetsk region. The ride will go through Slovyansk, Kramatorsk, Mariupol, and others. The convoy will be headed by 4 vehicles from the Second World War, lorries and motorbikes. The 5th wave of partial mobilization continues in Ukraine, preparation for which started as far back as on the 10th of April. The first mobilized citizens were sent to training centers on the 22nd of April. The number of people who are subject to mobilization is determined by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The mobilized military, after the necessary training, will replace their brothers in arms in the zone of anti-terrorist operation who have completed their term of service. In the anti-terrorist operation zone, the active work of the group of military and civil cooperation of the Armed Forces of Ukraine goes on. In Artemivsk sector, the military of this unit are establishing the dialogue between local bodies of power, peaceful residents of Donetsk region, and bodies of military management. Local residents who live close to the demarcation line badly need help in establishing peaceful and secure life. During the meeting with workers of the Mironivka Settlement Council, the officers of the group discussed the most acute needs and problems of the community and the coordination of actions with the public and volunteer organizations. Military medics continue to help wounded in the zone of the anti-terrorist operation. For over 2.5 months, the military doctors of the military mobile hospital number 66 have helped medically more than 1,300 patients. The military doctors are doing everything to get back to the rows of the army, the maximum number of military. Another priority of the work of this hospital is providing urgent medical help to the civil population. Almost 300 consultations and more than 30 operations have been performed for local residents. They are working in all the directions of qualified help: ophthalmology, surgery, stomatology, dentistry, and traumatology. Most of the personnel of the mobile hospital have volunteered to go to the east. As military doctors remark, almost every day they are helping wounded defenders of Ukraine. The military service of law enforcement of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, together with volunteers, inspected a number of military canteens in Odessa, Kherson, Kryvyi Rih, Mykolaiv, and also in Zhytomyr, Odessa, and Dnipropetrovsk regions. They have found out a number of drawbacks that will be rectified as soon as possible, and the main exploitation and resident dwelling Department of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has been given an instruction to provide for the maintenance of the premises of military canteens according to norms and standards. In Shirokий Lan, Mykolaiv region, a number of officials were brought to responsibility, and also there were negotiations with the representatives of the private enterprise Artek Soyuz, and the process of liquidating all the problem issues in this canteen, the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Lieutenant General Stepan Poltorak, took under his personal control. As of the 27th of April, within the framework of the action Support the Ukrainian Army, the accounts of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine have got 158,260,000 hryvnia as the help to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. And this came from the legal entities and individuals. 134.5 million hryvnia was used to buy material and technical supplies, including helmets, sleeping bags, fatigues of new kind, footwear. Another 13.1 million hryvnia was used for medical equipment. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine and the Armed Forces expressed their sincere gratitude to all concerned citizens who joined the charitable action and continue to support our armed forces. And now I pass the floor to the officer of the press center of the headquarters of the anti-terrorist operation, Lieutenant Colonel Sergiy Danylenko, who will talk to you about the events in the anti-terrorist operation zone. Good morning. So, about the events in the anti-terrorist operation zone. On the night of the 4th of May, the situation in the anti-terrorist operation zone remained tense. The Russian and terrorist troops have several times violated the regime of silence. In Donetsk region, they have again shelled the positions of Ukrainian armed forces from 120mm mortars next to Pisky, Shirokine, and number of other settlements. The criminals have more than once shelled our positions from artillery of 120mm caliber. And this, for instance, happened next to Opytne and Avdiivka. In Luhansk region, the enemy have also shelled our positions from 120mm mortars. And in one of locations, the combat clash between Ukrainian army and criminal band formation took place from 5:30 to 8 p.m. I'd like also to draw your attention that lately some mass media have reported on the participation of volunteer battalions in anti-terrorist operation actions. I'd like to inform you officially that there are no volunteer battalions or other units in the zone of anti-terrorist operation. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Sergiy. Any questions to our speakers? No questions. Thank you, Viktoria. Thank you, Sergiy. We'll talk to you on Friday. Dear colleagues, our next briefing will take place at 11:30. Thank you.